Jack, 2025 year in review. Was it a good year for rare earths or not?
I don't really think so, Tracy. I think there were too many choices presented to the public and dilution, therefore, of well-focused capital in the market in this particular segment.
Any surprises that we can point out from 2025 that you didn't know about, but by the end of 2025, you had on your radar?
I don't really think so. I've my thought about 2025 is this: we are now entering a period of Darwinian evolution in the rare earth permanent magnet space, for example. And rare earth permanent magnets are the most important rare earth product. What's happened here? Darwin's theory is that the nature provides continuous variation of species, and then the survivors are naturally selected by the environment. I think this is an ideal overview of the rare earth permanent magnet industry in 2025. We had many attempts, let's say, junior startups, major companies raising literally billions of dollars. And what I think is happening here is that the environment is changing. I personally believe that the age of the EV in North America is basically over. And the EV will now be just another niche product, in fact, luxury product. So that luxury products in the North American automotive industry usually are at 5 to 8% of the total. And I think that's what's going to happen, which means that the real demand for rare earth permanent magnets in the North American market is the legacy demand, the demand for simple automotive accessory motors, for phosphors, for displays on computers and cell phones and televisions, and for the what's called the support ceramic in a exhaust emission catalyst for automotive. Now, these legacy demands are well known. They have entirely dependent on the actual manufacturing levels of those products, which are at best leveled off in the very mature North American markets for these things. And if we're not going to have growth from EVs for specialized rare earth permanent magnets, what we're going to have is continuation of the legacy demand for what I call a simple rare earth permanent magnet. That is one that doesn't require the so-called heavy rare earths, but it's simply a magnet made from the elements neodymium, praseodymium, iron, and boron, and a very small segment of the market made from samarium and cobalt. Now, the problem with this is that the companies now on the center stage for rare earths in North America have combined outputs of many times this demand. Yet we know that the reason that there haven't been any of these companies in the past is because of Chinese predatory pricing. So the Chinese prices for these materials are much lower than anybody could produce them for in North America, for example, with our ordinary costs. So we've had in the last year, the U.S. government has suddenly decided to get into the industrial policy business, not from long-term thinking, not from long-term planning, but just as an emergency fix to in my opinion, non-existent demand. So what's happened is that we have way too much capacity in the pipeline. I count the following. There's a company, one well-known company that says they're going to produce 10,000 tons of magnets a year. Another new company, American company, says they'll produce 10,000 tons. Another one, 5,000 tons. A Korean company coming here says 3,000 tons. A former German, now American company in Carolina, 2,000 tons. That's 30,000 tons of magnets. And yet the market in North America is probably it's at the least 10,000 tons, at the most 20,000 tons a year. So what does that tell you? Something's going to happen, and that something is going to be a cult. Some of these companies are not going to survive. In the real world of the free market, the survivors would be those who could make a profit selling as much of it as they can. In the fantasy world of the North American market, it's going to be anybody who's bigger than anybody else. This is not true. What's going to happen is the survivors will be the robust companies, the ones that can make a profit at the level at which they're producing.